The cosmic destiny game descended upon Blue Star. Just to stay alive, players from all over the world embraced alien Xenos, treating the choice of humanity as an absolute disgrace. But it just made me sick to my stomach. Without a second thought, I chose a pure-blood human start. But right at the beginning, when I saw a hideous Xeno in my territory claiming to be human, I was furious. I immediately issued an extermination order, purging all Xenos and changing the United Nations of Earth into the Commonwealth of Man. At the same time, as a reincarnator, my cheat, the fourth crisis system, finally awakened. I decisively embraced my role as the ultimate scourge. I gained absolute power by destroying, trampling, humiliating, and enslaving other civilizations. I unlocked God-tier Stellaris tech, while other nations were still busy patting themselves on the back for turning into Xenos. My fleet was already blotting out the sun. Neutron sweeps, world crackers. Even my aetherophasic engine was fully built. Right at this moment, Stellaris Game selected Zhongcheng City in the Dragon Nation. Every single 18-year-old youth could awaken as a planetary lord and be teleported to the cosmic battlefield. At the awakening square of Zhongcheng First High School, someone just awakened a B-tier half-orc civilization. Another scored an A-tier slime tentacle race. With their insane survival abilities, Xeno races had long become the ultimate meta in this chaotic world. The Dragon Nation used to stubbornly pick humanity, only to suffer crushing defeats time and time again. After watching other countries rise to power through alien bloodlines, people's faith completely crumbled. In this twisted new reality, choosing a pure-blood human was basically a death wish. So when I, the heartthrob of the school, stepped up to the stage, the crowd sighed in pity. A bunch of fangirls were praying I'd randomly roll a beastman race that would let me keep my handsome face. But as a reincarnator and a hardcore Paradox interactive gamer, I absolutely despised this ridiculous Xeno-worshipping trend. The moment my hand touched the awakening stone, a bright blue light erupted. The symbol for a C-tier civilization appeared, making the crowd groan in disappointment. Faced with the choice between staying human or rolling a random race, I slammed the first option without a second thought, locking in the C-tier United Nations of Earth and the human race. This move instantly sparked a massive wave of shock and brutal mockery. People even started comparing me to that player from the Sakura Nation with his radioactive cockroach civilization. But I couldn't care less, because the very next second, a notification chimed in my head. The fourth crisis system had successfully loaded. I instantly knew I was holding the absolute most overpowered trump card in the entire Stellaris universe. It was a world-ending power that completely dwarfed any pathetic Xeno. Before the crowd could even calm down, an even bigger shockwave hit. The school beauty, Su Wanqing, stepped onto the stage. A dazzling golden light suddenly engulfed her. She was actually the first ever in the Dragon Nation's history to awaken an S-tier civilization. The entire country went completely wild. The rest of the world was green with envy. But surprisingly, Su Wanqing's face was dead pale. Her eyes were filled with the sheer relief of surviving a nightmare. She had actually been reborn. Memories of her past life came crashing back. She had once led her grand fleet into the Commonwealth of Man's home system, only to watch her star forcefully extinguished under the terrifying gaze of a colossus. Her entire armada was instantly wiped out of existence. And that colossal superweapon, those unstoppable warships, they all belonged to the supreme leader of the Commonwealth of Man, Lin Moen. Su Wanqing's eyes locked dead onto me in the crowd. Right then and there, she made a quiet vow. In this life, she absolutely would not make the same fatal mistake. Before I could become the undisputed overlord of the galaxy, she had to cling tightly to this ultimate trump card. And so, under the watchful eyes of millions, Su Wanqing ruthlessly locked in a pure-blood human start. Civilization rank, S-tier, race locked, human, civilization locked, Commonwealth of Man. The massive system notification popped up, instantly sending absolute shockwaves across the entire globe. The entire Dragon Nation was in an uproar, with an overwhelming wave of doubt and backlash. Choosing humans for a Class C civilization? That's practically suicide. Even a random pick would have been better. You're supposed to build on your strengths. But watching all this, my eyes were filled with nothing but admiration. This level of recognition, to me, was the highest praise possible. The Sakura Nation, the Taeguk Nation, and all those other envious countries were instantly laughing their heads off. The mockery was just endless. The Dragon Nation is a lost cause. But They can't even grab an opportunity when it's handed to them. But on the awakening stage, Su Wanqing ignored it all. She knew very well that 10 minutes after awakening, she would be teleported to the stellar battlefield. The galaxy is vast, and planet lords are scattered randomly. Finding someone there is harder than finding a needle in a haystack. Making a lasting impression on me right now was her only real option. Ignoring the stares of the entire school, Su Wanqing marched straight toward me. Blushing bright red, she stood on her tiptoes and quickly pressed her lips against mine. That kiss sent all the livestream viewers into an absolute frenzy. The screen exploded with pure shock and bitter jealousy. Lin Moen, I really like you, Su Wanqing confessed, mustering all her courage. Finally, with a look of pure determination, she declared, even if I have to cross tens of billions of star systems, I will send out every single one of my ships to find you. Those words completely blew up the internet once again. Dragon Nation netizens furiously slammed her for being lovesick and dragging the whole country down. Meanwhile, the other nations just gloated. Everyone was dead certain the Dragon Nation would come in dead last this round. Suddenly, 2 beams of white light shot down from the sky. The teleportation countdown had begun. You have to wait for me. I'll paint your name on all my ships, Su Wanqing urged desperately, terrified that the tragedy of our past lives would repeat itself. I just gave her a calm reply. Okay. The white light grew blindingly bright. Our figures vanished from the awakening square. But back on the blue planet, the uproar, and the prelude to the stellar battlefield had only just begun. The white light slowly faded. I opened my eyes, only to find myself in a study room with sickeningly disturbing decor. The walls were covered in carefully framed portraits of aliens. The bookshelves were stuffed with pro-alien propaganda like, "Embrace the differences." This was the capital of the United Nations of Earth. According to the rules of the Stellaris game, I was already the newly appointed leader of the UN. A system notification suddenly rang out. Initial planet, Earth, Class C civilization, population, 8 billion. The current governing ethics were the absolutely nauseating xenophile and egalitarian. On top of that, Earth wasn't even unified, and the cabinet was completely controlled by the xenophile faction. I choked down my disgust and focused entirely on studying the 4th crisis system. The system prompted me to choose my first crisis ascension perk. Without a second thought, I selected Galactic Nemesis. The system immediately unlocked the Menace interface, informing me that by wiping out agricultural civilizations, I could gather Menace points to unlock brand new technologies. My first choice even came with a bonus of 1000 Menace points. This was exactly like the game I played in my past life. It was the absolute most efficient way to expand. I immediately opened the crisis shop. Glancing over the tech items in the level 1 shop, I instantly spent 400 Menace points to purchase the Super Soldier Serum and the Philosopher King Aura. I also grabbed a kinetic handgun in the Crisis Manifesto. The Super Soldier Serum instantly boosted my physical strength to 10 times the human limit. It was more than enough to completely crush those alien hybrids in the UN whose strength capped out at a mere 3 times the human limit. As for the Philosopher King Aura, it gave my every word a natural, magnetic authority and an overwhelming sense of pressure. My kinetic handgun and Crisis Manifesto were ready to go. Once everything was in place, I called out, my voice low and steady. A pure-blood human attendant pushed the door open. I ordered an emergency assembly of all humanity, immediately, and broadcast it live across the globe. This was my very first public address as the new leader. I completely ignored the council members sitting around the round table, and among these high-ranking officials was Grand Marshal Arthas, the one holding all military power. He was a hideously ugly, ape-like alien. Chief Science Officer Will was a translucent hybrid freak, and Secretary of State Elena, despite being a pure-blood human, was a total alien sympathizer. Will was the first to speak up, sounding completely dismissive and impatient. He claimed he was busy breeding some new hybrid race, and urged me to get straight to the point. At the exact same time, viewers from all over the world were flooding into my Earth broadcast stream, riding off the hype of Su Wanqing. The chat was full of mockery. They all thought I'd be turned into a puppet by the aliens and die a miserable death. Over in the Dragon Nation stream, the mood was incredibly bleak. Netizens were groaning that I was just going to drag Su Wanqing down, even praying I'd just die already. Right at that moment, Grand Marshal Arthas suddenly piped up, suggesting that I should lead by example and embrace the hybridization act. By picking a mate from the new humans. I replied, my voice ice cold. Shut your mouth. I haven't even called this meeting to order. Did I give you permission to speak? Arthas froze, his voice dropping dangerously low as he glared at me with pure venom. Lord Leader, are you talking to me? I completely ignored his livid face. Instead, I turned straight to the camera and asked, what does it mean to be human? Will looked at me like I was insane, arguing back that everyone in this room was human. I suddenly burst out laughing and roared back at him. No, you are not human. You are nothing but a horrifyingly ugly, absolutely disgusting alien freak. Beside him, Elena immediately started quoting the Federation Constitution, accusing me of violating the Equality Act. Will angrily chimed in, screaming that I was spitting on the very spirit of the Federation. Meanwhile, Arthas let out a twisted sneer. He told me he had dealt with countless pure-blood extremists just like me, and they all met extremely gruesome ends. The mockery from the Earth viewers exploded, and the Dragon Nation stream spiraled into pure despair. The alien officials all jumped to their feet, hurling insults at me. The Minister of Finance, the Minister of Education. One by one, they demanded my immediate impeachment, painting me as some lunatic trying to destroy the Federation. But facing their overwhelming barrage of hate, I stayed perfectly calm. Once they finally finished their little tantrum, I spoke up, my voice freezing cold. I ruthlessly tore into these alien half-breeds, telling them they had zero right to speak of equality with humanity. Their so-called contributions had only turned this world into a sick, disgusting joke. Then, I locked eyes with the camera, and activated the Cataclysm Declaration. An invisible surge of psychic power rippled out with my voice. I called out to every single oppressed pure-blood human out there, validating their deepest hatred for these aliens. I laid it out bare. Coexistence was a total lie. It was time to redefine what it meant to be human. My words struck like lightning, shattering their illusions. Outside the boardroom, the pure-bloods were entirely fired up. The guards in the halls, the silent veterans, the ordinary people forced into alien unions. All that pent-up rage and agony finally had an outlet. Back on Earth, a handful of unbroken Dragon Nation citizens finally started speaking up for me. Arthas just laughed off my speech as pure garbage. He mocked me, saying I had no army, no real power. That I was just the Federation's little clown. He claimed the pure bloods had been domesticated long ago. Taking a step forward, he towered over me, staring down with a deadly sneer. He tried forcing me to go along with the impeachment, or else they'd make me share the fate of the previous extremists. But I just smirked, and said coldly, what I do best is purging heretics. Before I even finished speaking, I reached into my coat, pulled out my kinetic pistol, and without a second thought, pulled the trigger right at Arthas. The hypervelocity round blew straight through his skull. This Grand Marshal, who controlled all the military might of the United Earth, got his head blown off on the spot. His massive body hit the floor so hard it shook the entire conference room. Dead silence fell over the room. The alien higher-ups were absolutely terrified. When Will finally snapped out of it, he screamed for the guards. Heavily armed alien troopers rushed in, ready to open fire. But I took them out in a flash, moving 10 times faster than they ever could. I turned back to the live broadcast camera. The crisis declaration was working perfectly. My voice echoed like a divine decree directly into the hearts of every pure-blood human. These things, they feel fear too. And they can die. I then officially announced that the United Earth was hereby renamed the Human Federation. And as your leader, I am issuing an extermination order. I command all pure-blood humans. Grab whatever weapons you have around you, and kill every single ugly alien you see. For the Human Federation, my fellow citizens, the war has begun, and from this moment on, it will not stop for a single second. We will fight for the future of humanity. Even if we have to set the stars ablaze and burn the entire galaxy to ash. On this day, the pure-blood humans of the United Earth were awakened by the glory of our ancestors. Their hearts and their bloodlines screamed for rebellion. In the factories of the East Asian Union, an old engineer, forced to slave away under alien overseers for 15 years, grabbed a wrench and smashed it right into a compound-eyed insectoid. I've put up with you freaks for way too long. Instantly, the entire vehicle assembly plant exploded in chaos. Every pure-blood human worker rose up, fighting back with whatever they had in their hands. Meanwhile, in the military camps of the North American Union, the marginalized pure-blood human soldiers turned their guns right at their alien commanders. A storm of gunfire erupted. Their furious roars were filled with nothing but pure vengeance. In an instant, the entire planet was engulfed in the flames of rebellion. Doubt ran wild across the live streams of every nation. People mocked me, saying I was just inciting riots. Just an armchair general. They thought there was no way pure-blood humans could ever beat the aliens. They even joked that I was just hiding in the conference room, and that I'd be beheaded by the alien army soon enough. In the Dragon Nation's official stream, the narrative completely flipped. The chat was going wild, cheering for me, praising me for having the guts to stand up, to finally speak the truth. The people who were mocking me went dead silent, because deep down, they hated the aliens just as much. They had just let reality grind them down, but I did exactly what they were too scared to do. Back in the conference room, Chief Science Officer Will was screaming in terror, ordering the rest of the alien soldiers to rush me, even though he was a science officer. His hybridized body was twice as strong as a pure-blood human's. And with so many alien officials backing him up, in his eyes, I was dead meat for relying on a cheap sneak attack. But I moved like a ghost. My kinetic pistol scored perfect headshots. The Minister of Finance, Minister of Education, these high-ranking officials dropped one by one. Will stared in sheer disbelief. But in the end, he couldn't escape death either. Elena, the pure-blood human Secretary of State who sold us out to the aliens, dropped to her knees and begged for her life, but I executed her without batting an eye. All because she dared to side with the aliens. And then, I wiped out the fully armed alien soldiers that breached the conference room in under 30 seconds. I stood right in the middle of the bloodbath, not even blinking an eye. That scene made the Blue Star livestream absolutely explode. Everyone was blown away by my speed and the sheer power of my pistol. They were also wondering why Su Wanqing chose me. Meanwhile, inside a conference room back in the Dragon Nation, the top brass and politicians stared at my file, completely baffled. I was an orphan, my grades were average, and I had zero special background or unusual experiences. But my physical stats and weapon tech? They were light years ahead of the Earth Union's current level. Nobody knew where my power came from. The war in the stellar world dragged on for an entire year. It was a brutal, bloody conflict. The aliens were incredibly strong, but they were totally brainless. Against a united front of pure-blooded humans, they were pushed back again and again. I personally led the charge. We captured key military facilities. By then, I had become a living symbol. A symbol that all pure-blooded humans were willing to die for. Finally, the war ended. From a starting population of 8 billion, only 2 billion pure-blooded humans remained. 2 billion of our people sacrificed. 4 billion aliens turned to ash. And there I stood in the capital square of the Human Federation, declaring our victory. But the joy didn't last long. The live streams across the Blue Star were flooded with doubts once again. People accused me of shooting myself in the foot, crying that a population of just 2 billion was impossible to sustain. They called me incredibly short-sighted. The Dragon Nation viewers, however, fought back hard, arguing that the surviving 2 billion were all battle-hardened elites, completely united. With zero internal conflict, the population issue could be solved over time. But even within the Human Federation, dissenting voices began to emerge. Some of the pure-blooded survivors looked back at the war and called my methods radical and brutal. They felt losing 2 billion people was too heavy a price. The armchair experts jumped out, too, pointing fingers, saying I wasn't a real politician, that I was just blinded by ideals, and completely out of touch with reality. Facing all this backlash, I did something that took everyone by surprise. I addressed every single citizen of the Human Federation, and launched an anonymous survey. The survey had just one question. Are we war criminals? The only options were yes or no. Relying on their pure blood status and war records, a lot of people used the anonymity to fiercely vent their anger. They complained about my aggressive tactics, crying over their dead friends and family. They really thought I wouldn't punish them. This survey, completely reeking of negativity, was quickly tallied up. Only 200,000 people voted that we were war criminals. The remaining 1.998 billion people entirely disagreed. The live streams across the Blue Star were filled with disappointment. Everyone started questioning if the survey was rigged, mocking that nobody had the guts to tell the truth. But the very next second, my next move dropped everyone's jaws. I locked down the list of names, rounded them all up, and sent them to labor camps. The efficiency of a battle-hardened army was terrifying. In under 3 hours, all 200,000 of them were captured. Anyone who resisted was dealt with on the spot. Even the ones screaming about freedom of speech. Even those with pure blood status couldn't escape the punishment. The whole operation was ruthless and clean. The live streams instantly blew up. People from all over the world furiously cursed at me, accusing me of entrapment and calling me a tyrannical dictator. Chinese viewers, though, fiercely defended me, saying a soft heart can't lead an army. They called me bold and brilliant. Right after that, I stood at the very top of the Human Federation's capital square and went live. Our ranks are finally pure. As for those who see themselves as war criminals, I'm just granting their wish to atone for their sins. Did my words make the viewers start to second-guess themselves? They began to accept my logic. Then, my expression turned serious. I held up the document and declared, the Constitution of the new Human Federation is officially in effect. The Federation is supreme. All laws must uphold this absolute bottom line. Any act that betrays the interests of the Human Federation will be met with the most severe punishment. Any force that attempts to divide us will be completely wiped out. The interests of the Human Federation stand above all else. Our glory will never fade. I solemnly swear right here and now, I will dedicate my entire life to defending the Human Federation and ensuring the spark of humanity lives on. From the depths of the Pacific to the edges of the galaxy, I make this vow today. I will not rest until my dying breath. The cheers of 2 billion people shook the very heavens. The viewers back on Blue Star were fired up by my passion, and it suddenly reminded them of Su Wanqing's civilization, which was also called the Human Federation. They joked that we were destined for each other. I looked out at the boiling crowd below the stage, my voice rising even higher. My fellow citizens, after enduring a long, grueling war and countless sacrifices, the Human Federation has achieved a monumental victory. But this is not the end. It is a brand new beginning. I know exactly what all of you are worried about. Our planet has been ravaged by war and left in ruins. Restoring our industries will take a very long time. Rebuilding our homes will require endless blood, sweat, and tears. You must be thinking that we are about to face an era of extreme hardship. Many people in the crowd lowered their heads. It was true. That was their biggest fear. We may have won the war, but the cost was too high. Almost all of the Earth's infrastructure had been completely wiped out. Factories, farmlands, cities, everything was in ruins. 2 billion people trying to rebuild civilization from the ashes would be incredibly difficult. However, my next words caught everyone completely off guard. But let me tell you this. Do not stare at the ruins beneath your feet. Raise your heads and look up at the starry sky above us. Beyond Earth lies the vast and boundless galaxy. Countless star systems, countless planets, and endless resources. They might seem completely out of reach right now, but I promise you this. Give me 1 year. In just one single year, we will break free from our home planet. My words completely blew up the Blue Star livestream. Viewers from all over the world started mocking me, saying I was full of it. They believed it was literally impossible for a Class C civilization to achieve deep space exploration in just 1 year. Even the viewers from Dragon Country found it hard to believe, but my tone remained rock solid. I boldly declared that we didn't need to wait to rebuild Earth. The galaxy itself was our ultimate resource pool. In 1 year, we would be mining the asteroid belts and establishing interstellar colonies. We would kick off interstellar trade. Finally, I threw my arms wide open. I roared to all the citizens, Earth is just the beginning. Our true journey lies out there, in the sea of stars. And one day, the flag of the Human Federation will be planted across the entire galaxy. The deafening roar of 2 billion people surged like a massive tidal wave. All the trauma of war and the desolation of the ruins were completely left in the dust. In everyone's eyes, a burning, endless desire for the stars was ignited. After the speech wrapped up, I headed straight back to my office. I immediately fired up the 4th Scourge system. The screen displayed my current power at 5,600 points. I had unlocked the Evolver achievement for wiping out the planetary heretics. I was rewarded 5,000 power points. Both my Scourge level and the system shop had been upgraded to level 2. And all level 2 items were 50% off. A massive surge of excitement flashed in my eyes. I immediately redeemed the blueprints for the science ship, corvette, and construction ship, costing 500 points each. With 4,100 menace points remaining, the information of the 3 blueprints instantly flooded my mind. Science ships are used to explore unknown star systems and scan anomalies. They are a civilization's first step toward the stars. Corvettes are the most basic combat vessels. While their firepower and defense aren't top tier, their advantage lies in being incredibly cheap to build. They can be built very quickly. As for construction ships, they're essential vehicles for building mining and research stations. These three are the absolute must-have starter pack in Stellaris. If we weren't a C-tier civilization, we would have started with these right off the bat. An S-tier like Su Wanqing probably has starbases and all that. Available from the very beginning. As for the gene template, I just took a glance at it and decided not to buy it for now. The Commonwealth of Man is currently in ruins. We are in no condition to roll out genetic modification for the entire population. I turned my attention to the newly refreshed items. The blueprint for the blue laser. 500 points. A modern weapon far more powerful than the red laser. To organic beings, electromagnetic radiation of this wavelength appears blue or purple. The corners of my mouth curled up slightly. Almost all new players start with the red laser. Upgrading to the blue laser is completely impossible without at least a decade of in-game time, because the early game research base is just too weak. Tech progression crawls at a snail's pace, but right now, I can completely skip the red laser phase. 20% increase in research speed, costing 1000 menace points. A 20% increase in ship build speed, costing another 1000 points. These two are absolute must-haves. A 20% boost in research speed means the development cycle for all technologies will be reduced by 1/5. A 20% boost in ship build speed means that in the exact same amount of time, we can pump out way more warships. Time is absolutely everything. As the successful redemption chime rang out, I had spent 2500 menace points this time, leaving me with 1600 points. Just then, I was pleasantly surprised to find that the level 2 crisis shop had unlocked a brand new feature. I can use menace points to exchange for resources. For alloys, 1 point buys 100 units. For energy credits, 1 point buys 200 units. For minerals, 1 point buys 300 units. And for food, 1 point buys 500 units. The exchanged resources will manifest in our civilization in a completely natural way. My eyes lit up. This feature is an absolute godsend. The core of this entire game revolves around resources. Alloys are used to build ships and structures, making them the lifeblood of our military and development. Energy credits are the universal currency. We need them for maintenance fees and trade policies. Minerals are the most fundamental resource, capable of being converted into alloys and consumer goods. Food determines the population growth rate. Furthermore, the system stated that these resources will appear naturally, meaning they won't just magically spawn out of thin air. It might be a scientist suddenly getting a spark of inspiration and developing a highly efficient smelting technique. Or an exploration team accidentally stumbling upon a massive mineral vein. Or maybe a breakthrough in agricultural technology that doubles our food production. That way, even if this is being live-streamed the entire time, it won't look suspicious at all. I thought for a moment, and made my decision. Alloys are the absolute top priority. Building ships requires a massive amount of alloys, and alloys need to be smelted from minerals. Smelting technology of a Class C civilization is incredibly backward, and the efficiency is just pitiful. But when you redeem the alloys, the system also grants a breakthrough in the corresponding smelting technology. Now that is the real prize. With advanced smelting tech, our future alloy production will skyrocket. Late that night, most of the viewers had already gone to bed. After all, they couldn't watch the livestream 24/7. The National Destiny game wasn't broadcast in real time anyway. It only showed the major milestones. Nobody wanted to watch the mundane daily chores of eating, sleeping, and going to the bathroom, so those were cut out. Plus, the system automatically censored any sensitive or highly classified information. One day on Earth was equal to a whole year in the galaxy. When the next morning arrived, a viewer who had stayed up all night watching the stream suddenly jumped out of bed. Holy crap, look at Lin Moen's stream. He built a science ship in just half a year. That news instantly blew up the entire internet. Meanwhile, just as everyone was cheering for the maiden voyage of the Pioneer, I suddenly announced that I would personally be on board for the maiden voyage. As soon as I said that, dead silence fell over the room. The chief scientist and the top officials all tried to talk me out of it. They warned that the risks of actual spaceflight were completely unknown, and as their leader, I absolutely could not take that gamble. But I flat out refused. I told them straight up that as their leader, I had to lead by example. It was the only way to make the people believe that humanity could truly leave our home planet. Back at the command center, the countdown hit 0. The Pioneer's engines erupted in a blinding blue light, blasting straight up into the sky. At that very moment, the fourth Scourge officially stepped onto the galactic stage. Just seconds ago, the Pioneer had turned into a streak of silver light, piercing the heavens. After breaking through the atmosphere and entering the void of space, I stood by the window. I stared out at the vast, endless stars, while the blue planet shrank in the distance behind us. Ahead of me was endless darkness and countless stars. In my past life, I could only gaze at the Milky Way through a screen. But now, actually being here in person, my eyes were wide with sheer excitement. Leader, all systems are green. The Pioneer's maiden voyage is a complete success. Through the comms, the voice from the ground command center cracked with raw emotion. I replied with a steady voice, and then addressed the entire world. The Human Federation has officially entered the interstellar age. In an instant, Earth completely erupted. The cheers were so loud they almost seemed to pierce through space itself. The Dragon Nation's livestream chat completely blew up. Viewers were absolutely blown away. In just half a year, I had led the Human Federation from a measly Class C civilization all the way to mastering spaceflight. We were leagues ahead of the other nations still fumbling around on the dirt. People were practically begging me to hurry up and meet with Su Wanqing from the Class S civilization, so we could power the ultimate rise of the Dragon Nation. Meanwhile, the chat rooms for the Sakura Nation, the Peninsula Nation, and the Lighthouse Nation were dead silent. Some people were in absolute denial, but no one could argue with the cold, hard facts. After flying the Pioneer in a full orbit around Earth, we made a smooth landing at the new spaceport. As the hatch opened, a deafening tsunami of cheers washed over me. I grabbed a megaphone and fired up the crowd. This is only the beginning. We will build more science ships to explore the galaxy, corvettes to defend our home, and engineering ships to harvest the stars. The grand journey of the Human Federation has just begun. At that exact moment, the system updated the Scourge achievements, and because I was the first to pilot a ship off the home planet, I was awarded 1,000 power points. Deep down, I knew, saving the galaxy couldn't wait a second longer. Over the next 6 months, thanks to all those system buffs and resource injections, the Human Federation shipyard is running at full throttle. Science ships, corvettes, and construction ships are rolling off the line one after another. Supporting technologies are making rapid breakthroughs, leaving the viewers back on Blue Star absolutely speechless. One science ship, the Pioneer, set out on its exploration mission the very day after its maiden flight. 6 months later, it sent back massive news. Reporting to the leader, "We've discovered an Earth-like mining planet. Its rare ore reserves are over 10 times that of Earth. We've named it Mining Planet 1, a simple name to fit our plans for many more mining worlds in the future." A move full of foresight. But just as everyone was celebrating, the Pioneer sent another major update. Signs of intelligent life had been found on the planet. I ordered a global live broadcast of the footage. Nations all across Blue Star began to speculate wildly. Some recalled the tragic encounters of other civilizations in the past, while others maliciously hoped to see us hit a brick wall. As the camera zoomed in, the true faces of these intelligent beings were finally revealed. They had humanoid shapes, but their bodies were made of cracked, jagged rock. They were absolutely hideous. Seeing this, the entire Human Federation flew into a rage. The Blue Star live streams instantly blew up, and the discussions grew incredibly heated. Holy crap, isn't that the Rockman race belonging to Da Jun, the B-tier civilization player from South Korea? Even though he hasn't built any warships yet, those Rockmen are insanely overpowered in ground combat. They have endless strength and can regenerate super fast. Normal gunshot wounds heal in seconds. They are literal born war machines. The South Korean live streams were a sea of jubilation, with everyone completely gloating over our situation. The Dragon Nation wants that mining planet? Not a chance in hell. Ground battles rely on the army. Weak little humans can't possibly beat our Rockmen. You'll have no choice but to back off. Even in the Dragon Nation's own live streams, many people were deeply worried. This is a really tough nut to crack. The casualties for our ground troops are going to be massive. Our population of 2 billion cannot afford such a huge loss. The newly appointed Grand Marshal pulled up a holographic projection. My leader, there are roughly 5 billion Rockmen. Their technology is primitive, but their physical attributes are incredibly strong. Their rapid regeneration is going to be a huge headache. Ground combat will result in devastating casualties. I highly recommend taking 3 to 6 months to develop specialized ground weapons. Meanwhile, in the Stellaris universe, at the capital of the Human Federation, I decided to broadcast our cabinet meeting globally, aiming to unite the spirit of our people. I stood dead center in the conference room, my voice steady and commanding. My fellow citizens, the mining planet we just discovered is infested with hideous aliens. But do not lose hope. Somewhere out there in the galaxy, there must be other human civilizations. They might be oppressed right now, enslaved, just waiting for us to liberate them. This galaxy is rotten to the core. We must purge these alien heretics. We will protect our kin, and we will plant the banner of humanity across every corner of the galaxy. As my words echoed, I loudly proclaimed, the purification protocol for mining Planet 1 is now officially in effect. The entire Human Federation instantly erupted in cheers. Countless citizens volunteered for the front lines. My cabinet members all nodded in agreement, but I simply waved my hand to quiet them. My tone was dead serious and resolute. We aren't just aiming to lower casualties. This time, I demand 0 casualties. Not a single human life will be lost. The room fell into a dead silence. The Grand Marshal gave a bitter, helpless smile. He spoke bluntly, "My leader, that is practically impossible. To take the mining planet, we have to deploy ground troops, and bloodshed is inevitable." The other members also chimed in, trying to talk me down. They felt my demand was way too idealistic. Meanwhile, over on the Blue Star livestreams, the South Korean viewers relentlessly mocked me for dreaming. Even the Dragon Nation viewers felt that 0 casualties was completely unrealistic. But just as everyone was drowning in doubt, I slowly spoke up, my tone carrying a hint of challenge. "Who said I was deploying the ground troops?" These words left everyone in the room completely shocked. The Grand Marshal immediately asked in confusion. But upon hearing that I planned to use corvettes, he frantically tried to stop me, pointing out that while the corvettes might have immense firepower, wiping out 5 billion warheadmen would drain way too much energy. The logistical strain would be massive, not to mention those rockmen possess regeneration abilities. Orbital bombardment would be incredibly inefficient. Meanwhile, over in the Blue Star's K-Nation livestream, the viewers burst into roaring laughter upon hearing my plan. They mocked me for being delusional, absolutely certain that a corvette bombardment wouldn't even dent the rockmen's regeneration. They even joked that I'd end up stranded with 0 energy, unable to retreat. They bragged that their rockmen were completely invincible in ground combat. Back in the Stellaris meeting room, I cut off the Grand Marshal's doubts, stating flat out that we didn't need to bomb all 5 billion warheadmen. We only needed to bomb them until they lost all ability to fight back. Then, I pulled up the holographic map of mining Planet 1. I ordered them to concentrate all firepower on the rockmen's military bases, power grids, research facilities, and civilian settlements, unleashing a full-scale orbital saturation bombardment. We would completely obliterate the foundation of their civilization. I bluntly declared that once they lost everything, those rockmen would be nothing more than a bunch of moving rocks. After that, my expression turned dead serious. I emphasized that before taking action, we had to redefine our target. I turned to the room and asked, what exactly is the true nature of these rockmen? When the Grand Marshal simply answered, "Rockmen," I cut him off and firmly corrected him. They don't even deserve to be called men. They are simply rare minerals that possess regenerative properties. They are essentially ready-made ore refineries. 51 warheadmen are simply 51 units of rare minerals. That is the true core value of this mining planet. These ruthless words left the entire cabinet in absolute shock. The Grand Marshal finally saw the big picture. Meanwhile, in the livestream, the Dragon Nation viewers went absolutely wild. They praised my mind-blowing strategy, calling my brilliant methods a literal out-of-this-world, dimensional strike. As for the K-Nation viewers, they were instantly left dumbfounded, quickly raging and labeling me a war criminal. They cried about me having 0 humanity, but our Dragon Nation viewers immediately clapped back. They brutally pointed out that you don't need humanitarianism to mine rocks. The K-Nation's petty threats were completely scoffed at by our crowd. Soon enough, the massive operation against mining Planet 1 officially began. 10 corvettes, escorted by 3 engineering ships, arrived in the planet's orbit under the guidance of the Vanguard. 3 months later, the engineering ships returned with the very first massive haul of rare minerals. These could be perfectly used as the new materials for our fleet's armor plating. I was already more than satisfied. But right at that moment, the system's notification chimed in. I had unlocked the Scourge achievement. My intimidation points skyrocketed. Both my Scourge level and the system shop instantly leveled up to level 3. All level 1 shop items were now 50% off, and I had unlocked the refresh feature. I immediately checked out the level 3 shop. At first glance, my eyes locked onto a Starbase blueprint that cost 5,000 intimidation points. This was a top-tier facility that only S-class civilizations possessed. It could serve as a supply hub, a shipyard, and a cutting-edge research center. It would perfectly propel the United Earth Federation into the interstellar era. Without a second thought, I decisively bought it. My eyes were filled with absolute determination. It is finally time to plant the flag of the Federation across the entire galaxy. After securing the Starbase blueprint, I eagerly scrolled through the rest of the level 3 Scourge shop. Inside, it was fully stocked with all kinds of insane tech, disruptor cannon technology, ion cannon turrets, cruiser blueprints, and more. Most of the core items were priced at around 1,000 intimidation points. The cruiser blueprint, however, demanded 5,000 points. My gaze instantly locked right onto the disruptor cannon tech. This absolute top-tier, mid to late game weapon could fire high-energy particle beams to completely shatter molecular bonds. It completely bypasses shields and armor, dealing an absolutely devastating blow straight to the enemy. It's basically an early game god-tier weapon. So, without a second thought, I unlocked the disruptor tech. I also grabbed the ion cannon blueprint and a 30% research speed boost. After spending 3,000 power points, I still had 3,200 points left over. Then, I turned my attention to the Tier 1 upgrades. I spent 250 points on the species genome template, officially unlocking the genetic ascension path for the Human Federation. I decided to hold off on the other armor and shield techs for now. I firmly believe that in the early game, a strong offense is the best defense. Plus, I needed to keep some points in reserve as a deterrent for emergencies. Once the upgrades were locked in, the Human Federation kicked into massive overdrive. Construction immediately began on our very first starbase. We prioritized deploying the ion cannons to secure our absolute dominance in the star system. Meanwhile, taking full advantage of the research speed boost, our science team went all in to crack the complex disruptor tech. At the same time, we completely overhauled the new Corvette blueprints, planning to outfit them entirely with disruptors, thanks to the steady stream of rare ores from mining planet number 1. And the backing of the system, every single project moved forward right on schedule. It wasn't long before our chief scientist, Liang Bing, gave me an update. The research team had successfully taken the restorative rare ores from mining planet number 1 and applied them to our ships. They actually developed self-repairing regenerative armor. This was a massive boost to our fleet's endurance in prolonged combat. But at the same time, she voiced a major concern. Ever since the incident on the mining planet, a lot of people had started doubting basic human biology. They were terrified we wouldn't stand a chance in hand-to-hand combat against alien species. That's when I announced the genetic ascension plan. I proposed that we break our genetic limiters and achieve pure, unadulterated human evolution. No alien DNA, absolutely no crossbreeding. Drawing this hard line completely wiped out Liang Bing's fears about horrific genetic mutations. She instantly volunteered to lead the research, and since this entire conversation was being broadcast live, it sparked a massive uproar worldwide. The Sakura Nation, the Lighthouse Nation, and the rest immediately started mocking us. They called pure human DNA absolute garbage. They claimed that without splicing in alien genes, evolution was totally impossible. They were all just sitting back, waiting for me to fail. Meanwhile, back at the Human Federation capital, Liang Bing knocked on my office door, full of determination. She looked me dead in the eye and said she wanted to extract my DNA for her research. To finally crack the human genetic limiter. She had already figured it out. The power I displayed in the war 1 year ago was way beyond that of a normal human. To her absolute surprise, I just came right out and admitted it. I told her I had already broken my genetic limiters purely by instinct. Even though my exact process couldn't just be copied, I agreed to let her take my DNA samples anyway. All I cared about was pushing past my own absolute limits. Shortly after, Liang Bing and her science team ran a deep dive on my genetic samples. And they were stunned. They found a hidden, unique marker inside it. Literally the key to unlocking the sealed doors of human DNA. Using my DNA as the foundation, they successfully engineered the very first Generation 1 genetic enhancement serum. No alien crossbreeding required, just pure, unadulterated human potential, finally awakened. After tens of thousands of small-scale trials, the volunteers who took the injection saw their physical strength multiply by anywhere from 5 to 8 times. The strongest ones even hit 10 times their original power. Best of all, there were absolutely zero side effects. Right then and there, I decided to do a global live broadcast. Liang Bing and I were going to lead by example, and inject the serum ourselves on live TV. Right after that, we planned to roll out genetic clinics all across the globe. On the day of the broadcast, right in the center of the Human Federation Plaza, millions of citizens gathered. Every single survival game player and viewer back on Earth was watching live, ready to witness history. I stood up at the podium and made my declaration. I told them that humanity would finally take control of its own evolution. We didn't need any filthy alien genes polluting our bloodlines. With that said, I stepped up first and took a customized dose of the serum. A few seconds later, I opened my eyes, feeling an absolutely massive surge of power roaring through my veins. It skyrocketed by over 20 times. Right after that, Liang Bing took the injection too. Though her reaction wasn't quite as explosive as mine, her hidden potential was still climbing at a crazy speed. In the live chat, salty viewers from Knet and Jnet were stubbornly typing out their doubts. They were absolutely terrified that their years of relying on alien genetics would turn out to be a massive joke. Facing their skepticism, I just smiled and made the announcement. The moment of truth is here. Now, within our research team, we have two different schools of thought. One side supports Norma's vision of mecha development. So up next, Liang Bing is going in completely unarmed to duel against Norma, who'll be piloting our latest mecha right here on this stage-turned arena. She's going to prove the sheer power of the genetic serum with her own two hands. As soon as I finished speaking, the whole crowd erupted into thunderous cheers. This battle, destined to go down in human history, officially kicked off, but the moment my words hung in the air, a fresh wave of doubts exploded from countries all over the Blue Star. Letting Liang Bing fight a mecha bare-handed? Are you kidding me? This has got to be a PR stunt. That mecha must be made of cheap junk. Even if she wins, it doesn't prove a thing. It just means the mecha is trash. But honestly, they were just using those doubts to hide their own panic. Otherwise, they'd have to admit that all their choices over the years were nothing but a joke. In the central square of the starry world, a massive 5-meter-tall mecha slowly rose from one end of the arena. Its silver-gray regenerative alloy chassis gleamed under the lights. The mastermind behind it? Our very own Deputy Director of Research, Norma. Even though he acknowledged human potential, he was absolutely obsessed with mecha development. He'd always bluntly say that mechas are just the absolute coolest. The machine had kinetic cannons mounted on both shoulders, wielded a special alloy broadsword in one hand, and sported a pitch-black gun barrel on the other. Its combat power was totally maxed out. And just to prove this mecha was the real deal, we kicked off a quick demonstration. Right on cue, a transport ship dropped a rock monster we captured alive from Mine Star 1. It snapped its restraints and charged straight at me. But Norma's mecha just swung its blade and sliced the beast into a million pieces. Even with its rapid healing abilities, there was zero chance of it putting itself back together. Seeing this, the viewers from the Human Federation went absolutely wild. Fans from the Dragon Nation of Blue Star spammed the chat like crazy, completely shutting down those salty internet trolls and leaving them totally speechless. With the demonstration out of the way, the real battle officially began. Norma's voice boomed through the mecha's speakers. He flat out told her he'd be going all in, just to keep things completely fair. Liang Bing was a bit surprised by the warning, but she didn't flinch. She stepped right up to the challenge. The mecha fired up in a flash. Its massive 5-meter frame barreled toward Liang Bing at terrifying speed, bringing its broadsword crashing down in a brutal sweep. Boom! The blade blasted a massive crater into the arena. Liang Bing's pupils shrank, and she darted back, dodging wildly. But inside her, the genetic serum was pumping into overdrive. Her dormant potential was waking up, surging through her veins. When Norma realized he couldn't land a hit, he switched weapons and unleashed a total barrage of kinetic fire. But Liang Bing read his moves perfectly, dodging every single blast with ease. Then, in a split second, she burst forward. Bam! She slammed her fist straight into the mecha's leg, The punch literally sent the gigantic machine skidding back several meters. A massive dent caved into the thick metal armor. Panicking, Norma fired up the shoulder cannons, but Liang Bing just casually sidestepped the blast. Using the momentum, she slipped right behind him, unlocked 10 times her base strength, and started raining punches onto the mecha. Smash, 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 until finally, the supposedly unbreakable regenerative alloys shattered to pieces. The mecha's right leg completely snapped, and the steel giant crashed to the ground with a deafening thud. Standing over it, Liang Bing was practically radiating steam, her eyes burning with an intense, fiery glow. She actually did it. She broke the genetic lock. The entire square instantly fell into dead silence. Then, an earth-shattering wave of cheers erupted. The square instantly fell into dead silence once more. Then, an earth-shattering wave of cheers erupted again. All 2 billion citizens of the Human Federation bore witness to an absolute miracle. A pure-blood human, destroying a mech with her bare hands. The Blue Star stream went completely crazy. The chat was absolutely flooded with cheers from the Dragon Nation viewers. Meanwhile, viewers from rival nations were still in heavy denial, desperately making up excuses. But their words were completely hollow. Norma crawled out from the wreckage of her mech, looking utterly defeated, and asked me, was I wrong to choose the path of mechs? Hearing this, I just smiled and gently comforted her. I told her straight up, mechs and genetic evolution aren't enemies. They actually complement each other. Just imagine if a genetically enhanced warrior piloted a custom-built mech. Their combat power would absolutely double. Those words were exactly what Norma needed to hear. Her eyes instantly lit up. She made a decision right then and there. She was going to build a brand new generation of mechs, perfectly adapted for our genetically enhanced warriors. Finally, I turned back to the entire Human Federation and made my announcement. Starting today, genetic clinics will be built everywhere. Every single citizen can achieve perfect evolution. The destiny of humanity will remain firmly in our own hands. And this is only the first generation of the genetic serum. I promise you, one day, humanity will shatter its limits and ascend to the level of the gods. However, after the first generation of the serum was born, the Human Federation fell completely silent. My stream had nothing exciting to show anymore. It was mostly just censored, everyday footage of scientific research and construction. Without any real action, my viewership fell right off a cliff. I went from billions of live viewers, down to just a few million. Most of the audience jumped ship to watch more entertaining players. And of course, the viewers from rival nations took the chance to mock me. They kept saying my progress had flatlined, and that reaching a Class C civilization was nothing but a lucky fluke. They accused me of unlocking the wrong tech tree, claiming I was wasting genius scientists on pure-blood humans and useless mechs. They said I was digging my own grave. They were so sure I'd get permanently stuck trying to make the second-generation serum. The viewers from the Dragon Nation tried to defend me, but with no exciting footage for a whole week, their arguments lost a lot of steam. Eventually, even they started to lose interest, and shifted their focus to Su Wanqing's starbase instead. It was the 10th day of the Stellar Game, which meant it was the 10th year in the Stellar World. Just when everyone was about to forget about me, the stream of the Tiger Nation's top player, Alan, suddenly blew up. The scene shifted to Commander Alan's massive fleet of 100 corvettes. Suddenly, a voice cracked over the comms. "Boss, reporting in, we're in orbit above mining Planet 1, and we've spotted a Human Federation engineering ship." You see, Alan was a terrifying pirate king. For 10 whole years, he focused entirely on building ships and plundering. His fleet was incredibly battle-hardened. He didn't hesitate for a second. "All ships, attack," he roared, intent on blasting my patrol ships to dust. He wanted to steal all our resources and that engineering ship. Back in the Blue Star stream, the Tiger Nation viewers were cheering like crazy, and the rival fans couldn't wait to rub it in. But just when everyone was absolutely convinced that the human fleet was going to be completely wiped out, the 10 patrol ships escorted the engineering vessel and pulled back. Their speed was absolutely staggering. Alan was furious. "Don't let them escape. After them," he bellowed. 100 pirate ships gave chase, pushing their engines to the max, but they just couldn't close the gap. The human fleet plunged straight into a nearby star system. Alan sneered, thinking they were running back to base to cry for backup. He led his massive fleet charging right in after them, only to witness a scene he would never, ever forget. Right in the dead center of the star system, hovered a colossal, steel fortress of a starbase. And surrounding it was a fleet so massive it blotted out the stars. Countless formations of heavily armed corvettes, stretching as far as the eye could see. The numbers were beyond anything he could have ever imagined. Alan's pupils shrank in sheer terror. As they frantically tried to count the ships, his lieutenant's voice cracked into a terrified scream. The number 10,000 crashed through Yinglun's mind like a thunderbolt. Suspended around the starbase, the cannons of every single warship glowed with an eerie blue light. Yinglun froze in place, his mind going completely blank. He even forgot to order a retreat, his voice trembling as he muttered. 10 years. How could they possibly build 10,000 warships? The black wings on his back clenched tight, a birdman's pure instinct when faced with sheer terror. Every livestream on Earth exploded in an instant. Over in the Dragon Country stream, it was the first to erupt with deafening cheers. 10,000 ships. Lin Moen is an absolute legend. The Human Federation is badass. Meanwhile, the South Korean streams were dead silent. Viewers looked pale as ghosts. Some trembled, stammering in denial. No, that's impossible. In just 10 years, even Su Wanqing's S-class civilization only managed to build 1,000 ships. It has to be a fake. But the massive fleet blotting out the stars on screen was the most powerful proof. A massive wave of viewers flooded into my stream. They were desperate to know the truth behind it all. By order of the leader, all ships, open fire. Obliterate the invading heretics. Offer them up as a sacrifice for our military parade. In the command channel, the Grand Marshal's voice roared across the fleet. A split second later, 10,000 frigates opened fire all at once. No explosions, no roaring flames. 100 pirate ships, along with those Birdman pirates, were instantly vaporized into cosmic dust, erased completely from the starry sky. At that exact moment, a system notification chimed in my head. Congratulations on unlocking the Calamity achievement. You have successfully humiliated an A-class space pirate civilization. Intimidation increased by 10,000. Current intimidation, 10,000 points. In the stellar world, at the Human Federation starbase. Inside the command center, I nodded with a satisfied smile. Notify the entire Federation. The military parade officially begins now. The 10,000 frigates shifted their formation, aligning into the shape of a colossal longsword. Its blade pointed straight into the deep abyss of space. The light from the star bathed the hulls, reflecting a dazzling, metallic shine. Through the livestream, my voice echoed across Earth and the entire Human Federation. My fellow citizens, today marks the 10th anniversary of our Human Federation. 10 years ago, I made a promise. I promised that our journey would conquer the Sea of Stars. And today, we have finally done it. These 10,000 warships, they are the ultimate crystal of human wisdom and courage. They are the hard-earned triumph of our 3 billion people. But this is just the first step in our conquest of the stars. Our blade will point to every corner of the galaxy, held tight against the throat of every heretic out there. The Human Federation reigns supreme. The roaring cheers of 3 billion humans shook the very galaxy. The viewers back on Earth went absolutely wild. Using 10,000 warships to fight just 100? Isn't that just using a bazooka to kill a mosquito? That is such a massive flex. This is just straight up humiliation. It feels so damn good. Wait, what kind of weapon was that? It's even stronger than the Blue Aurora. Everyone was burning with curiosity. How did I, leading a mere C-class civilization, manage to build a fleet 10 times the size of Su Wanqing's in just 10 years? Well, the truth is, this is all the fruit of me laying low and grinding my development. Right after constructing the Nebula Starbase, I immediately set up 3 massive shipyards to run day and night. Mining Planet Number 1, along with the others, supplied me with an endless stream of resources. After we successfully developed the second-generation gene serum, a massive wave of genius scientists emerged out of nowhere. They hyper-accelerated our tech breakthroughs. Oh, and I also cashed in on a 30% buff to our shipbuilding speed. And with a 30% boost in research speed, our shipbuilding efficiency has made a massive leap forward. These 10,000 early-stage warships were built solely to establish a rapid firepower advantage. The Dragon Nation's stream on Blue Star is absolutely blowing up, and all the mockery from other countries has completely vanished. Right at that moment, the chat in my stream suddenly exploded. Quick, look at Su Wanqing's stream. Her research ship just spotted you. They were already at the edge of the star system just now. But after seeing the attack from those 10,000 warships, they're shaking in their boots and absolutely terrified to come any closer. Deep within the galaxy, a solitary research ship was traveling through the stars. Zhao Shui leaned back in her seat, gazing out at the endless sea of stars. It had been 10 years since she started flying this research ship all alone. She had crossed countless star systems, aging from 23 to 33. Giving her best years to this galaxy. 10 years ago, leader Su Wanqing had summoned her, and gave her a mission, to find a man named Lin Moen. Su Wanqing had given them a rough direction and coordinates, ordering that on every single research ship, the name, Lin Moen, be painted in massive letters. Out of the entire United Earth Federation, she selected over a dozen female scientists to split up and search. Zhao Shui had accepted the mission without a second thought, but 10 years had passed, and she hadn't seen a single trace of her target. She had given up hope a long time ago. Over these past 10 years, she had been through so much and had nearly died on multiple occasions. Thankfully, she had a sharp instinct for danger and used her radar to plot safe routes in advance. Between taking risks and sheer dumb luck, she had barely managed to escape every single time. But after every narrow escape, she couldn't help but ask herself, is all of this really worth it? The galaxy is just so vast. Looking for one specific person is literally like finding a needle in a haystack. And does this Lin Moen even really exist? Suddenly, her system alerted. New star system detected ahead. The AI's voice broke her train of thought. Out of habit, she ran a scan from the edge of the system. She only flew in after confirming it was safe. She had repeated this exact same routine countless times. Every single time, she would go in full of hope. And every single time, she would leave completely crushed. But then, she saw something she would never forget for the rest of her life. A colossal stellar base was hovering right in the center of the system, surrounded by a massive fleet of warships that practically blotted out the stars. The frigates were packed tightly together, lined up in countless formations. 100, 500, 1,000, there were just too many to count. Suddenly, a blinding blue beam shot out from one of the frigates, instantly turning about 100 enemy frigates on the other side of the system into absolute dust. There was no explosion, no wreckage left behind. It was as if they had never even existed. Zhao Shui was shaking with terror. She didn't dare to move forward, but she was too terrified to run away, either. Then, her comms channel suddenly crackled to life. Attention, research vessel ahead. This is the captain of a United Earth Federation frigate. What is the meaning of the name Lin Moen painted on your hull? State your identity and your purpose here. United Earth Federation? Lin Moen? Trembling violently, she opened the channel and explained why she was there. After a moment of dead silence, a deep, resonant voice spoke up. Welcome, Captain Zhao Shui. You are safe now. Bring your research ship into the stellar base and dock. I will meet you in person. The research ship slowly sailed into the massive base. Following the navigational guides, Zhao Shui finally arrived at the command center. I spoke to her with a calm voice. My name is Lin Moen. I am the leader of the United Earth Federation. You are Lin Moen? Zhao Shui gasped, as tears immediately streamed down her face. I found him. I've been searching for 10 whole years. At this exact moment, she finally understood. She understood the true meaning behind the mission leader Su Wanqing gave her, and why Lin Moen's name had to be carved onto the ships. Why they specifically chose beautiful female scientists, and why they had to travel across the vast universe to find him. Looking at those 10,000 frigates, and looking at the man standing right in front of her, Zhao Shui finally understood everything. Because all of it was completely worth it. You've worked so hard, Miss Zhao Shui. Your absolute dedication is truly admirable, I told her warmly. Zhao Shui mentioned that the dozen other scientists who traveled with her might still be scattered in the nearby star systems. I nodded, agreeing to dispatch fleets to search for them, and told Zhao Shui to stay by my side to learn. Actually, there were over a dozen other scientists who set out with us, she said. They were also sent by our leader to find you. We're just the very first group. But Zhao Shui went on, there's just one more thing. I can't reach the Federation anymore. The distance is just too incredibly far. One of the communication relays we built along our route, it was completely destroyed. I already know about that. You don't need to worry at all. I'll take care of these issues. Shortly after, I inspected my 10,000 frigates, and delivered a massive speech to the entire human commonwealth, formally introducing Zhao Shui and where she came from. My fellow citizens, the arrival of Ms. Zhao Shui proves that this galaxy isn't just filled with sickening aliens. There are also countless fellow humans out there. It took Ms. Zhao Shui 10 years just to reach our star system. But we don't have that kind of time. I announce right now that for the next 1 year, we will push beyond what she did in 10. We absolutely cannot stop, not until we sweep across 1,000 stars. The massive fleet divided into 10 squadrons, each with 1,000 ships, pushing forward in every single direction. 3 billion fellow citizens cheered at the top of their lungs as a send-off. Zhao Shui stood right beside me, watching the constant stream of victory reports roll in. My Scourge system kept flashing notifications. Crushed a Class C civilization. Power increased by 1,000. Crushed a Class B civilization. Power increased by 5,000. Crushed a Class A civilization. Power increased by 10,000. My Scourge level shot up by 2 full ranks. Viewers from various countries back on Blue Star quickly noticed that these targeted players just happened to be in the star systems right next to the Commonwealth. Some alien civilizations even tried to surrender. But the moment I learned they were disgusting aliens, I had only one single response. They will always have only one choice. And that's to die. The homeworld of the Venom Knight civilization, ruled by the Sakura Nation's AG player, Aki Tomoya, was completely glassed. He barely managed to escape, sending his right-hand man with 30 frigates along a hidden route to launch a sneak attack on the Commonwealth's homeworld. But my starbase fired just one single shot from its ion cannon, vaporizing those 30 frigates into absolutely nothing. Aki Tomoya himself fled in a panic with 3 warships, desperately searching for the Divine Lord of the Poison Saint. In the 10th star system, the fleet finally stopped to resupply. I suddenly turned and asked Zhao Shui, if you were the leader of the Commonwealth, what exactly would you do next? Zhao Shui nervously replied, that's a huge question. First of all, where are our borderlines? Zhao Shui's mind raced, and it clicked. Oh, I get it now. We don't need any borders. Borders would only limit our empire. I replied, remember this, out here in this galaxy, only weak civilizations need borders. It's just self-deception. A truly powerful empire never needs borders. We use our fleets to measure our territory. Wherever our fleets aim, that is our land. And setting borders aside, your plan has some massive flaws too. Let me ask you this. After thinking it over, Zhao Shui replied, build supply ships. That's more flexible, a bit better than before, but it's still way too inefficient. First off, the decision to just keep pushing the warships forward is completely wrong. Our soldiers aren't machines. They need to rest, and they need to enjoy the fruits of their victory. Secondly, whether it's starbase supply stations or supply ships, it all comes down to the fact that our ships aren't perfect yet. That's exactly why they need resupplying. And what should we do next? Ah, I get it. We should take a step back to move forward, rest, and rebuild our strength. We need to put everything into developing flawless warships, making them completely independent of supplies. That is the right path. Zhao Shui had a sudden realization. Not bad at all. Do you see now what you need to learn by my side? I want you to be able to lead on your own one day. The fleet returned in triumph. Those science ships sent out by Su Wanqing were also found during the war. They all survived. I opened up the 4th Scourge system. My current Scourge level is level 5, with a power level of 150,000. The level 5 Scourge shop is absolutely packed with incredible items. Every single item costs 10,000 points, plus 50% to ship building speed, plus 50% to research speed, battleship blueprints, jump drives, 0 materials, focused arc emitters, 0-point reactors, Dyson spheres, citadels, and quantum catapults. I clicked without a moment's hesitation. I unlocked them all. Battleships are the absolute backbone of the galaxy. Even the fallen empires use battle cruisers, which are basically just upgraded battleships. Jump drives. They completely free us from the limitations of hyperlanes. Before this, only ships with hyperdrives could jump between star systems through those lanes, taking at least 10 days. But with a jump drive, not only is the speed on a whole different level, but you don't even have to follow the lanes anymore. Borders? They mean absolutely nothing to an empire with jump drives. The focused arc emitters. Their main advantage is a 100% hit rate. They completely bypass shields and armor, dealing massive damage straight to the hull. 0 materials can withstand way heavier firepower. The battle cruisers of the fallen empires are actually equipped with this exact type of armor, and the zero-point reactors provide a near-infinite supply of energy. As for the quantum catapult, it's practically a godsend. It uses pulsar energy to warp space itself, launching fleets to any corner of the galaxy. The Commonwealth of Man, which took Zhao Shui 10 years to return to, could be reached in just an instant using the catapult. In no time at all, my 100,000 power points were completely spent. I used the remaining 50,000 to buy cores and resources. The quantum catapult has to be built as fast as humanly possible. My livestream was also muted for a little while, and at the exact same time, Su Wanqing's star system ran straight into the determined exterminators. 10,000 cruisers and tens of thousands of other warships were closing in on her home planet. The determined exterminators are an AI network, model XT-489. They are pure war machines. The second they spot organic life, they go straight into annihilation mode. This was all in Yulunye's doing. When he was running for his life, he accidentally stumbled into a wormhole and ended up right in a star system near Su Wanqing. His absolute disgust for humanity. He deliberately lured the Iron Heart exterminators right to us. Su Wanqing's face turned deathly pale. Her entire fleet consisted of just 1,000 corvettes and 100 destroyers. Facing the Iron Heart exterminators, it was practically nothing. Her adjutant fell to his knees, begging her to retreat. But Su Wanqing refused. There are always some things that are more important than life itself. Within justice itself, there are simply questions that cannot be answered. There are 10 billion of our people on this planet. They don't have warships to escape. They are the fathers, mothers, wives, and children of our soldiers. Not a single one of them has taken a step back. I absolutely cannot abandon them. Even if it means death, I will die right here. Move my flagship to the very front of the fleet. Let my blood be the sacrifice for our flag in this battle. Her voice echoed across the entire human federation. Though those 10 billion citizens were terrified, they never once took a single step back. Right at that moment, the radar blared with a piercing alarm. A massive spatial distortion was detected at the edge of the star system. The energy levels were completely off the charts. A gigantic rift was torn open in the fabric of space, radiating a brilliant blue light. Colossal battleships sailed out, followed by a second, then a third, flooding in like a tidal wave. In just a few short seconds, 1,000 battleships had fully arrived. Emblazoned on their hulls was the flag of our human federation. Lin Moen, you're finally here. Tears streamed down Su Wanqing's face. She, along with everyone in the command center, was completely stunned. The 10 billion citizens thought the Iron Heart exterminators hadn't even arrived yet, and now an even more terrifying fleet of battleships had shown up. They plunged into an even deeper despair, but still, not a single person backed down. Su Wanqing frantically opened a system-wide broadcast. These battleships are our reinforcements. Our human federation is saved. All of this stemmed from the Manifest Destiny national policy she had established 11 years ago. She told the 10 billion citizens that she was guided by destiny to find the prophesied one, Lin Moen. As long as we find him, the human federation will stand tall among the giants. She even amended the constitution. Once Lin Moen was found, she would yield the position of leader to him. Her 11 years of waiting had finally blossomed in this very moment. Tens of billions of Federation citizens cheered in unison. Long live leader Lin Moen. Long live the Federation. Meanwhile, the cruisers of the Iron Heart exterminators, just emerging from the hyperlane, spotted the 1,000 battleships. They instantly ran an analysis and calculated that the risk of engaging was extremely high. Their win rate was practically zero. 10,000 cruisers, along with tens of thousands of destroyers and corvettes, almost simultaneously turned around. With terrifying efficiency, they retreated back toward the hyperlane they had just come from. 50,000 warships just tucked tail and ran. Over in the Blue Star Dragon Nation's livestream, the chat was absolutely exploding. Holy crap, this is way too overpowered. I didn't rush to chase them down. Instead, I took my sweet time following right behind them. I had Zhao Shui use the jump drives to cruise along their hyperlane route, letting these hunks of metal think they actually had a chance. By the time my fleet sailed into their home system, 100,000 enemy warships had formed a massive ring, completely surrounding us. Every single hyperlane was blocked off. Cold, mechanical text popped up on our screens. Too late, organics. Zhao Shui and the other commanders weren't panicked in the slightest. They were even looking around with amused interest. I told Zhao Shui to send a reply. Too early, you oversized toasters, iron-hard exterminators, my foot. A volley of 100,000 missiles fired at once. But just before the barrage could land, the jump drives of our 1,000 battleships roared to life, shattering time and space. In a flash, they vanished. And in the very next second, they scattered across the galaxy, descending upon all hyperlane routes. We broadcast a message: your calculations are precise, but hyperlanes are a cage for the weak. We come and go as we please. The battleships fired their massive arc emitters in unison, landing perfect hits. The chips and processors of every single one of those bread machines burned to a crisp on the spot. Pop-up notifications flooded my vision. Alloy, +1. Ever since we tweaked the system like this per your request, leader, every battle feels so incredibly rewarding. Zhao Shui said excitedly. All 100,000 determined exterminators had been reduced to nothing but alloy resources. Our researchers found a planet that generates power using organic heretics. The determined exterminators built it because they were short on power. I immediately ordered it to be preserved. We need more heretics. Plug them into the power grid. From now on, toss as many heretics as possible in here. Think of it as an evolution for them. And use the bread machine's warships for transport. Don't go dirtying up our own. The system randomly updated. Objective: eliminate special civilization. Earning 100,000 points from wiping out the determined exterminators, I spent 10,000 points to refresh the store. It spawned a neutron sweep. Here be dragons, L-gates, titans, and a world cracker. With plenty of funds on hand now, I didn't even have to think. I exchanged for all of them immediately. Do you know how the determined exterminators were born? I turned my head and asked Zhao Shui. I actually don't know. It was a bread machine. They started out as human bread machines, but suddenly, they awakened to consciousness. They started despising the weird-tasting bread humans gave them, and then, they began to question themselves. Why should I only be a bread machine? And just like that, the rebellion began. After carefully examining the main brain structure, Zhao Shui asked in utter confusion. Leader, how do you even know this? Because I just made it up. Well, I guess it kind of makes sense. As long as it makes sense. There are so many wild rumors spreading across the galaxy. One more from me won't hurt. Bread machines are gone. Naturally, it's up to us to write their history now. A few months later, I officially met with Su Wanqing. Su Wanqing just went with the flow, handing over the position of Supreme Leader to me. From then on, I became the Supreme Leader of both human federations, and delivered my inauguration speech. This is not merely a ceremony to welcome our triumphant return. It is also the inauguration of your new leader. Before stepping onto the stage, I thought about a lot of opening lines. But when I saw my name engraved on every single warship, I knew right then and there, destiny had tied us together long ago. At this moment, we stand, united as one. And then, I announced two things. First, to our 10 billion new compatriots, I am gifting the second generation gene serum. It extends your lifespan by 500 years. And, the third generation is coming soon. The fourth generation is already in development. As for the second matter, it concerns our future. Not long ago, I completely annihilated the determined exterminators. Their home system left behind the wreckage of 100,000 warships, and a massive number of starbases. My people, you might be thinking, that because we possess 1,000 battleships, we can just run wild without a care in the world. But this is far from enough. In this galaxy, there are entities far more powerful than the determined exterminators. We won't just sit back and passively wait for the crisis to hit. Because we are going to become the crisis. We'll set the galaxy ablaze, make the stars fall, and make the entire cosmos tremble. Those aren't just figures of speech, but a statement of objective facts. Right after that, I announced my one-year plan to the entire population. We would build a second quantum catapult, allowing instantaneous travel between our two bases. We would expand our fleet to 10,000 battleships, and forge the very first Colossus weapon in human history. All 13 billion Commonwealth citizens were fired up. Su Wanqing felt a surge of excitement, but she couldn't help but wonder. This Colossus weapon, could it be the exact same one that blew him up in his past life? 1 year later, Sky Dragon spawned in the Toaster 1 star system. It was a colossal space creature, practically the size of a planet. The Sky Dragon was incredibly greedy, complaining that the Commonwealth was way too slow at catching heretics. And it even attacked our ships. When our researchers tried to communicate with it, the Sky Dragon unleashed a long, arrogant rant, boasting about its wisdom gathered over countless eras, calling the Commonwealth way too young and reckless. So, I decided that once the second quantum catapult was finished, I'd aim it right at the Sky Dragon, and ask if it had ever met a fallen empire. Maybe it wanted to go hang out with them? 3 days later, the quantum catapult was ready. Su Wanqing personally delivered the final ultimatum to the Sky Dragon. Our patience has its limits. You have exactly 1 minute. Surrender is your only option. If you keep playing dumb, the quantum catapult will blast you to the other side of the galaxy. But the Sky Dragon just scoffed. With that little toy you built? Go ahead, I dare you. The quantum catapult fired. The Sky Dragon was instantly teleported to the far side of the galaxy. That was my home planet. But before it could even process what happened, another burst of pulsar energy erupted, and the Sky Dragon was instantly zapped right back in front of Su Wanqing. Because I had 2 quantum catapults, the entire galaxy was my personal playing field. I was kicking the Sky Dragon back and forth like a football. It tried to make a run for it, only to find 10,000 battleships blocking its path. Su Wanqing said coldly, "This time, if you refuse to submit, you won't be teleported to our base. You'll be dropped directly into the airspace of the fallen empire's home world. And you know exactly what that means. No, don't send me back there. I surrender. We can talk about this." The Sky Dragon literally cried out in terror. It immediately bowed its proud head. "You aren't submitting to me. You are submitting to the Commonwealth of Man, and to our great leader, Lin Moen." Su Wanqing firmly emphasized, "I understand, I get it. From this day forward, I will only answer to the great leader of the Commonwealth, Lin Moen." The Sky Dragon hastily pledged its loyalty. But right at that moment, the alarms started blaring. 5 star systems away from us, a glowing green, hideous anomaly, just as massive as the Sky Dragon, was barreling straight toward our home system. And Yelena had inherited the legacy of the toxic god. It was a terrifying, colossal biological construct that coiled around entire stars. He was leading the toxic god here for revenge. I immediately deployed my 10,000 battleships to lock the Sky Dragon and the toxic god inside the exact same star system, and I broadcast the whole thing live for all the citizens to watch. Today, I am proud to announce the Human Commonwealth's first ever Galactic Arts Festival, and its very first main event, the Galactic Brawl. Back in our ancient times, fighting and betting games were all the rage. Just look at them, the Heavenly Dragon and the Poison Knight. Don't they look exactly like 2 angry fighting crickets? Why not place a little bet with your family and friends? Meanwhile, Yelena was piloting his Poison Knight against the dragon, utterly humiliated to be spectated like a mere bug. He heard the Chinese broadcast, and instantly knew his opponent was a player from our Dragon Nation. He completely lost his mind. The great and mighty Poison Knight, actually reduced to a giant galactic cricket, with people casually placing bets on him. Every time he tried to break through the lines and escape, the Heavenly Dragon charged at him like a maniac to block his path. So, he had no choice but to play along with me, putting on a full 3-day galactic spectacle. On the 3rd day, our Colossus superweapon, the Planet Cracker, warped into the star system. Let's get this party started. First, let's blow up a planet just to spice things up. The second the Heavenly Dragon heard the words, Planet Cracker, he booked it, instantly hiding behind the battleships. The Poison Knight, however, wasn't so lucky. He desperately tried to run, but got hurted by massive energy arcs, right into the direct firing line of the Planet Cracker. Colossus unleashed a terrifying stream of thermal energy, raining down like an apocalyptic divine punishment. It rapidly superheated the atmosphere, instantly detonating the planet's core. The entire crust was absolutely obliterated. The planet shattered into a million pieces right before everyone's eyes. The Poison Knight was nearly vaporized by the shockwave, and Yelena himself was left with only half a face. His will to fight was completely crushed. Meanwhile, the planet's scorching core, cooling in the freezing void of space, displayed a chilling, breathtaking beauty of death. Through it all, the Colossus didn't even flinch. I guess the Poison Knight was never a true god after all. Only I am. After taking care of all that, a few years went by, and I declared that the Human Commonwealth had entered the era of the Great Crusade. At the same time, I founded the Universal Megacorp and the Galactic Arts Troupe. To help our expeditionary forces gather resources as efficiently as possible, I opened up a call for ideas. I let everyone pitch their proposals. Zhao Tian, the general manager of Universal Megacorp, handed me his business plan. He wanted me to open up our borders, allow free trade, and set up special economic zones. First, he did a deep dive into the history of the starfish civilization. Turns out, these seemingly adorable starfish are fanatically xenophobic. They once encountered a naive, peace-loving human faction, and relentlessly orbitally bombarded them, wiping them out to the absolute last man. So, he came up with a fitting solution. Phase 1. Build meatpacking plants and power stations on the starfish homeworld. We hooked the starfish up to the power grid, using them as living batteries, while simultaneously processing them into canned food to sell across the galaxy. After reading his pitch, I couldn't help but marvel. What a brilliantly evil capitalist genius. But, he was absolutely right. I approved the entire thing on the spot. At the very end of his proposal, Zhao Tian wrote, "I believe that death isn't the end, and it certainly shouldn't be. In our rigid, traditional way of thinking, once a heretic dies, we assume they can no longer generate value. But this universe shouldn't just stop there. Why is it that when these alien scums die, they can't just keep working for us? When I saw the galactic miracles that you, our great leader, revealed to us, I became absolutely certain that we can make this happen. However, I am no scientist. I don't know how long it will take to pull this off, so I'm just throwing the idea out there. If you, great leader, would even consider it, it would be my absolute honor. If we can actually make this a reality, then we could pilot this posthumous employment center on the generator world first. And then, just like our plan for the starfish cannery, we can set up an eternal employment contract and roll it out across the entire galaxy." The signature at the bottom read, "Zhao Tian. Go get Zhao Tian. I need to have a word with him. Right away, sir." Zhao Shui hurried off. Watching this unfold, the Blue Star audience was completely mind-blown. A posthumous employment center? You still have to work after you die? Oh my god, is this even something a human could come up with? They've literally lost the right to just die in peace. Thank God I'm a pure-blood human. And what the hell is this eternal employment contract? What kind of sick megacorp is this? More like a mega crime syndicate. All I can say is, the matchmaking system is absolutely insane. Those heretics matched in the same batch as Lin Moheng are really in for a treat. And the ones who matched with him, and managed to stay as pure-blood humans are lucky as hell too. Yeah, it's just a damn shame. Back then, so many of our Dragon Nation players heroically sacrificed themselves for pure-blood humans. If only they had matched with Lin Moheng. And then, just like when Su Wanqing was in danger, he swooped in from the sky to save them. How amazing would that have been? Meanwhile, while waiting for Zhao Tian, I quietly opened up the crisis mall. In order to quickly pump out battleships and colossi, I had already burned through all my previous deterrence points for resources. After blowing up a planet for the first time, and completing that one-time achievement, the system rewarded me with another 100,000 deterrence points. So, I refreshed the level 5 crisis mall one more time. But unfortunately, the synaptic lathe didn't show up. The endless stream of heretics being shipped to the generator world was exactly what I had prepared in advance for the synaptic lathe. That's a tech exclusive to a scholarly crisis ascension. Right now, I'm taking the martial crisis route. It's really easy to tell the two apart. A scholarly crisis focuses purely on tech and avoids war. A martial crisis pilots colossi and uses world crackers to bomb the entire universe. As the fourth crisis, naturally, I need to master both brains and brawn. Now, as for this synaptic lathe, simply put, it takes the brains of heretics, treats them like spare parts, and stuffs them right into this massive megastructure. It literally uses their brains as processing units to run massive computational workloads. It can trigger a qualitative leap in scientific research, and if taken to the absolute limit, you can touch the deepest secrets of the universe. Even rewriting pi, or rewriting the very laws of the universe itself, all of it becomes a piece of cake. But it's a real shame, an absolutely broken tech like this most likely isn't sitting in a level 5 crisis mall. That's exactly why I agreed to Zhao Tian's plan, to build the posthumous employment center. Actually, Zhao Tian's very existence was orchestrated entirely by me, since I can't get my hands on a synaptic lathe right now. He went ahead and redeemed the delicious gene editing tech for the starfish cannery. along with the necromancy tech needed for the posthumous employment center. And I put forward the plan to build a universal megacorp, which is exactly why a talent like Zhao Tian was born. It's basically like I bought a machine, and the system dispatched a guy right to my door to install it. But the viewers back on Earth naturally wouldn't have a clue about any of this. They really think the human commonwealth just magically spawned new talent. The human commonwealth, for the Great Crusade, prepared for a solid month, mainly focusing on handpicking the right talent and mapping out detailed plans. If we want to efficiently conquer the entire galaxy, we can't just rush into it without enough innate or acquired god-tier galactic traits. The efficiency is just worlds apart. Over the past month, under the direction of the Universal Megacorp's general manager, the Starfish Cannery has already produced the first batch of deliciously addictive canned starfish. Now, it's time to find some buyers. At the same time, other plans are moving along like clockwork. The Grand Marshal, just to have a righteous cause for war, filled an entire notebook with reasons to declare war. Things like, citizens of our human commonwealth have gone missing on your planet, and other excuses like that. This was exactly what I demanded of him. This made the Grand Marshal, who finally managed to get his youth back through the third-generation gene serum, age a few years all over again. While racking his brain in the middle of the night, he even started wondering if he should just step down. But he knew this was the leader's way of training and nurturing him. They could totally wage war without a reason. But if he could come up with a whole notebook of excuses, it would completely transform his way of thinking, turning him into an acquired god-tier galactic talent in my eyes. This is the goal that all citizens of the human commonwealth are striving for. Those who can't compete with the innate god-tier traits of naturally gifted individuals can only put in the hard work and study, just like the Grand Marshal. Only then will they earn the right to flex their talents across this galaxy. 1 month later, when I stepped onto the podium once again, facing fleets of warships that blotted out the sky, and 13 billion of my human commonwealth compatriots, ready to deliver the official mobilization speech for the Great Crusade. Right at that moment, something unexpected happened. After I got the news, I frowned slightly, then turned to the 13 billion citizens and spoke. Just now, I received an absolutely infuriating piece of news. Our science ship has discovered a few hideous heretics emerging from a mysterious wormhole, piloting the battleships they're so incredibly proud of. And then, they actually had the nerve to issue a threat over the ship's comms. They claimed that we humans are the heretics, compatriots of the human commonwealth. You tell me, how should we respond at a time like this? My words instantly set the entire human commonwealth ablaze. Answering me was a unified, thunderous roar. Wipe them out. Holy crap, talk about heretics with a death wish. They actually called humans the heretics? Talk about completely reversing the roles. You folks from Dragon Country have such ridiculous double standards. If you look at it from the heretic's perspective, Lin Moen is absolutely the heretic. Wait, so you admit you guys are the heretics? Besides, we can't empathize with them even a little bit. Excellent, I can feel your fury, and your absolute resolve for war. According to the intel sent back by our intelligence officers, these heretics, they call themselves the Chosen Ones, and this is the first time they've ever emerged from a wormhole. Which means, their home civilization is hidden right inside that unknown wormhole. And now, they've mastered wormhole tech. We have no way of knowing their exact tech level right now, or just how many fleets they actually have. Because our quantum catapult is locked directly onto the wormhole's entrance, it can't lock onto the inside of the wormhole itself. And to make sure our scientists didn't die in vain, we didn't just blindly send our fleets in. Because once we enter that wormhole system, we'd be stepping right into the lair of those ugly bugs. Even though we've already conquered the stars, and built galactic miracles like megastructures and colossus weapons, I have to admit, we really haven't focused enough on wormhole research. So now, facing an enemy with unknown strength, we need to charge into that wormhole, and completely purge these alien heretics. And we have to seize their wormhole tech, just to find our way back to this galaxy. Which also means, this first Great Crusade is going to be incredibly dangerous. We might not even make it back home. Will you back down? I asked them, deadly serious. We fight to the death. No retreat. The voices of 13 billion of our fellow humans shook the very heavens. Meanwhile, in the Blue Planet's livestream, a wormhole civilization? I never expected something like that to exist in this galaxy. Looks like these heretics are no joke. Guess they hit a brick wall on their very first Great Crusade. Oh, this is gonna be fun to watch. Lin Moen's fleet power might be terrifying against a single, normal civilization, but the galaxy is full of countless god-tier beings. Lin Moen thinks he can pull off a Great Crusade with that tiny little army of his? What a joke. The players from the Sakura Nation seem to have found themselves a brand new spiritual homeland, even if these so-called chosen ones have absolutely no idea who they even are. Back in the Stellaris universe. Excellent, such incredible spirit, that's exactly what I expect from the soldiers of the Human Federation. And this time, I'll be charging right into battle alongside you. Just like we did back in the Terra system, back on Earth. And I told you to grab whatever weapons you could find, and follow me into the fire. This time, I refuse to just stand in the back and watch you all risk your lives on the front lines. Because we share the same blood, we rise and fall together. So let's use these alien heretics as the ultimate sacrifice to kick off our Great Crusade. As my words echoed out, 13 billion of my fellow humans roared back in unison, their fighting spirit absolutely unmatched. Watching this unfold, and seeing my fierce determination, the viewers from the Dragon Nation back on the blue planet were deeply moved. That familiar feeling was finally back. It was just like back when Lin Moen was on Earth, leading 4 billion pure-blooded humans in a desperate, bloody war to purge the filthy heretics from their home planet. It all felt exactly like yesterday. So incredibly vivid. It had only been 12 days on the blue planet, but the changes were absolutely world-shaking. Never once had anyone played the National Destiny game to this insane level, let alone pulling it off in just 12 years. Back in the Stellaris universe. Let's end this quickly, shall we? Soldiers of the Human Federation, hear my orders. Follow me into battle, and with that single command, the massive fleets of the Human Federation launched from the United System. And finally, my entire fleet has been revealed. 1 World Cracker Colossus, 1 Space Dragon, 10 Titan flagships and 20,000 battleships, 200,000 corvettes, a fleet massive enough to blot out the stars. They marched majestically toward the wormhole system, and seeing this, the viewers back on Earth were absolutely dumbfounded. Bro, are you serious? You could have told us you had a fleet this massive. Holy crap, I honestly thought we were in for a desperate battle to the death just now. This isn't even a fight, it's a straight-up massacre. My god, 20,000 battleships, 200,000 corvettes, and what in the world are those 10 massive warships that are even bigger than the battleships? This is way too insane. If those chosen ones admit they're the heretics right now, is it too late for them to surrender? But hey, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Maybe these chosen ones are incredibly strong too. Though, when the viewers from Japan said that, they had absolutely zero confidence. Because a fleet of this scale is just utterly terrifying. An ocean of 200,000 corvettes means that every single battleship has an escort of 10 corvettes, and the World Cracker Colossus can just charge ahead without facing any resistance whatsoever. Lin Moen's shipbuilding speed is just horrifyingly fast. No wonder he wants to launch a Great Crusade. Honestly, if he hadn't run out of resources, his fleet would be even bigger than this right now. It's just terrifying. They are literally blotting out the stars. Meanwhile, deep inside the wormhole system, the leader of the chosen ones was busy rallying his own people. My fellow citizens, the day has finally arrived. Ever since our ancestors first set foot in this wormhole system, we have fought, and now, we have finally conquered it. We are the masters of the wormhole. This is a glorious milestone for us, the chosen ones. A day worthy of grand celebration. We have always longed for the universe beyond, and we knew that countless enemies were waiting for us out there. That is why we have been relentlessly amassing our military might, and today, we have finally completed our 1,000th battleship. We need more resources. Therefore, we shall sail out with our grand fleet of 1,000 battleships. We will conquer the very first civilization we find beyond the wormhole. We will seize their territory and their resources. We will expand our empire, and then, we will sweep across the entire galaxy. We will crush every single enemy in our path. And now, let us set forth. Let those hideous heretics on the outside tremble in fear at the arrival of the chosen ones. The leader of the chosen ones delivered his impassioned speech. With a single command, their mighty fleet of 1,000 battleships set sail. And right at the exit of the wormhole, they ran straight into the vanguard battleship of the Human Federation. These filthy heretics actually dared to invade our home base? They must have a death wish. The leader of the chosen ones laughed mockingly. Oh, look, they brought a bunch of little corvettes. It looks like they can't even afford to build proper battleships. And they dare to enter our system with such pathetic technology? Prepare for annihilation. For every ship they send in, we will destroy one, and once they are crying in terror, and too afraid to advance, it will be our turn to hunt them down. All battleships, stand by. I want a synchronized barrage of all cannons and laser weapons. The leader of the chosen ones let out a booming laugh, immediately issuing the attack order. And so, 1,000 battleships charged in fast, unleashing a mad barrage on the Human Federation's vanguard. But then, something totally baffling happened to the chosen ones. It happened fast. Reporting to the leader, the shields on these corvettes are incredibly strong. Our cannons can't even scratch them. The adjutant reported, his face looking grim. Switch to shield-piercing and armor-cracking disruptor weapons. The chosen leader was a bit surprised, but he just brushed it off. Right after, the 1,000 battleships of the chosen ones switched their weapons and unleashed a brand new volley of fire. But, this time, those shield-piercing disruptors were completely blocked outside the shields. The piercing effect was practically useless. The corvettes didn't even lose a single drop of shield energy. Reporting to the leader, our disruptors aren't working either. The adjutant's voice finally trembled with a hint of panic. And those battleships and corvettes just kept warping in, advancing with an unstoppable force. How is this even possible? The chosen leader couldn't wrap his head around it. Meanwhile, in the Blue Star livestream, and the viewers from the Dragon Country saw the number of warships the chosen ones had. They absolutely died laughing. The Sakura Country viewers, on the other hand, turned pale with anger. They were just kissing up to the chosen ones a second ago, and now they're immediately cursing them as useless trash. Man, I thought they were supposed to be tough. Is this really it? Only 1,000 battleships? He better have some backup fleets. But seriously, are Lin Moen's shields and armor really this insanely overpowered? The chosen ones are using battleships, for crying out loud. 1,000 of them firing all at once. And they still can't even scratch a single corvette's energy shield. Doesn't this mean that Lin Moen slapped battleship-level shield tech onto all 200,000 of his corvettes? Holy crap, that's just way too overkill, man. Aren't corvettes supposed to be as dirt cheap as possible? Wait, is it possible that to Lin Moen, this already is his cheapest option? Also, did you guys notice something else? Isn't Lin Moen's fleet moving a bit too slow? He clearly has warp engines. He could just instantly warp in, easy peasy. But so far, only a little over 100 have popped up. Damn, Moen, you sly dog. I bet his very first battleship scanned the enemy fleet numbers in the wormhole system, and now he's just dragging it out on purpose, right? I seriously can't wait to see the look on that chosen leader's face. I seriously can't wait to see the look on that chosen leader's face. Back in the world of the stars, the chosen leader fiercely refused to accept defeat. He just kept shouting orders. That is impossible. Their shields and armor have got to have a breaking point. Keep turning up the firepower. And so, the 1,000 battleships began a fresh wave of bombardment. This time, every single cannon fired in unison, holding absolutely nothing back. But, even now, they still couldn't even crack those shields. Yet those warships just kept advancing. And right beside every single battleship, each is escorted by 10 frigates. Now, the total has surpassed 1,000 ships. And behind them, there seems to be even more. Leader, should we retreat first? The adjutant's voice began to tremble. His instincts told him that this enemy was far from ordinary. I just don't understand. The chosen leader growled in frustration. He hesitated, refusing to give the order to retreat. However, right at that moment, the sudden, deafening roar of a dragon echoed through space. It pierced right through the battleship's energy shields and armor, making every single one of the chosen shake in their boots from pure instinct. When they finally managed to snap out of it, they were met with an absolutely terrifying sight. A massive celestial dragon was circling their entire fleet. Its size was so unimaginably colossal that it could wrap around all 1,000 of their battleships and still have room to spare. What the hell is that thing? Full power to the shields. Pull back, now. The chosen leader was finally panicking. He couldn't care less about anything else. With a single command, the fleet began a frantic retreat. The celestial dragon seemed to intentionally let them go, only to block their path of escape just a short distance away. Damn it all, the chosen leader cursed, feeling utterly powerless. Now, there was nowhere left to run. And opening fire on the celestial dragon? That would take way more courage than they had. He had absolutely no doubt that if they dared to anger this dragon, they would be wiped out without a trace, just as he was at a total loss for what to do. The adjutant's terrified voice rang in his ears. "Leader, look over there." The chosen leader followed the adjutant's trembling gaze, and finally realized exactly why the dragon had let them go. It was making room for the rest of its fleet. Right there, at the exit of the wormhole, was an armada so massive it blotted out the stars. The radar showed a staggering count of 230,000 ships. Every single one of the chosen was scared out of their minds. They just stood there, completely frozen, unable to even speak a single word. In that devastating moment, the chosen leader thought back to before they had set out, to the rousing speech he had given his people, only to realize what an absolute clown he truly was. He had once led his fleet to unite the entire wormhole galaxy. Without a single rival left in their star system, he had naively believed that even if there were powerful beings beyond the wormhole, they would just be like him, conquerors of their own galaxies, and the power gap wouldn't be all that huge. Even if there was a gap, he figured he could just play it safe, take it step by step, and continue building up his strength. However, he never in his wildest dreams imagined that the second they stepped out of the wormhole, they would run straight into a force this terrifying. Surprise. Bet you didn't see that coming. Haha, the chosen are literally crying from fear. The sheer oppressive aura is just way too intense. I wonder how Lin Moen plans to deal with these guys. Inside the stellar universe, all of the chosen were absolutely paralyzed with fear, waiting for my reaction. They had completely lost every last ounce of their will to fight, because their lives and deaths were now resting entirely in my hands. Seeing that I was holding my fire, they even started entertaining the crazy fantasy that I might actually let them off the hook. Surrender, hurry, send them a transmission immediately. Tell them we surrender. The chosen ones finally snapped out of it and yelled out in a panic. Okay, however, before the adjutant could even send out the surrender signal, a video feed from the Commonwealth of Man suddenly popped up on the ship's screens. In the video, I glared at the leader of the chosen ones, my eyes full of utter disgust. And I asked him coldly, "You called us heretics earlier. Well, now, I am standing right in front of you. So let me ask you one more time, are we heretics?" But the leader of the chosen ones didn't answer my question, because he couldn't understand a single word I was saying, but he could definitely feel my fury. His legs turned to absolute jelly, and he dropped right to his knees in terror. Then he just started babbling a bunch of nonsense. The only reason the Blue Star livestream audience could understand it, and why people from all over the world could chat freely, was all thanks to the power of the Stellaris game. But here, inside the actual Stellaris universe, that kind of translation magic doesn't exist. The linguist who had first made contact with the chosen ones quickly stepped up and said, "My great leader, this is my fault. I will translate your words for them right now." I just nodded, but my mood was totally ruined. What the heck? Talk about a buzzkill. We've been watching these streams so much that we completely forgot the languages in the Stellaris universe aren't universally translated. The National Destiny livestream has that built in, sure, but if the whole galaxy spoke the exact same language, then this Stellaris world wouldn't feel very realistic, would it? Anyway, thanks to the linguist's translation, my threat finally got across to them. We are the heretics? There must be some kind of misunderstanding. I never said anything like that. That's right, I swear I never said that. It was my fault for not keeping my subordinates in line. I'll punish him right now. The leader of the chosen ones was practically sobbing. He didn't look like a leader at all anymore. Just killing them like this? That's letting them off way too easy. Since they are guilty, let them atone for their sins. Set course for their home world. Convert their entire population into slave labor. Force them to mine the resources of the wormhole system, and have them build our new Colossus superweapon, the neutron sweep. Let these alien scums gaze up at our magnificent creation. Let them witness our galactic miracle. For now, they will be the slave laborers for the Colossus construction facility. But once the neutron sweep is fully built, we will use that very same weapon to wipe them all out of existence. And then, we'll drag their corpses to the post-death employment center, where they will continue to work off their sins for us. Yes, my lord, Zhao Shui replied, her eyes shining with absolute fanaticism. The viewers in the Blue Star livestream, after hearing Lin Moen's twisted plan, were completely stunned. Holy crap, Lin Moen is the literal king of hell. This is a fate way worse than death. Becoming absolute slaves to mine their own star system's resources, and building the exact colossus that will exterminate them with their own hands? And even after they die, they get sent to the post-death employment center to keep slaving away? Just hearing about it gives me the chills. But hey, they brought this on themselves. If they had said literally anything else, it might have been fine. But they just had to call Lin Moen and his people heretics. What a bunch of suicidal idiots. Back in the Stellaris world, Zhao Shui immediately went to execute the tasks I had assigned to her. Then, I called our chief scientist, Ren Chu, over for a private chat. In the future, it is inevitable that we'll cross paths with all kinds of different civilizations. When that happens, the language barrier in diplomacy is going to be a massive headache. If we have to send out a team of scientists to study the language of every single civilization we meet, the efficiency would be way too low. Plus, we wouldn't be able to speak our minds right on the spot. You are absolutely right, leader, Ran Chu agreed wholeheartedly. Just as she was about to pitch her initial plan, I cut in first. Can you even imagine, when we make first contact with some disgusting, ugly alien race, and we can't even immediately spit out the most vicious, filthiest curses to their faces? And more importantly, make sure those hideous freaks understand every single word. If you were a soldier on the front lines, wouldn't that just drive you crazy? Especially now that our great crusade has just kicked off. This is extremely urgent. Our boys on the front lines are definitely dying for this. So, here's what I need you to do. I want this problem completely solved in the next batch of gene serums we roll out. If you don't know how to swear yourself, then go gather every single nasty insult aimed at those alien scumbags. And remember, friendly human greetings like, "How's your mother doing?" absolutely cannot be used on those alien scumbags. The context is all wrong. I said, dead serious. Understood, sir. Ren Chu looked completely dumbfounded, but also, weirdly honored? Because this was technically the first time the great leader had indirectly sworn at her like that. In a way, she was the only person out of the 14 billion citizens in the Human Federation to get this treatment. If her mother was still around, she'd probably feel pretty honored, too. But that thought only lasted a second. That would be way too disrespectful to her mother. Meanwhile, in the Blue Star livestream, the viewers who were grabbing a bite are taking a sip. Almost choked on their drinks when they heard my little speech. Epic. That was a bit too savage, wasn't it? I almost forgot. Lin Moen is a native of our dragon country. Of course he knows how to drop our classic hometown insults. Plus, it's just Ran Chu in there. No other citizens are around. So he doesn't have to worry about being a bad role model. But honestly, what Lin Moen said actually makes a lot of sense. Imagine running into an alien freak, and not even being able to curse them out. How embarrassing would that be? Wiping them out is one thing. But if we can't even humiliate them, if we can't even trash talk them before they die, that totally ruins the fun. Lin Moen is the leader of the Human Federation, so he has to keep it classy. But our boys on the front lines of the Great Crusade would literally die of frustration. It's rare to see Lin Moen being so down to earth. Isn't he down to earth enough usually? Down to earth? More like down to the underworld. Ha ha ha. After Ran Chu took her orders and left, Zhao Shui finished handing out her assignments and came right back to my side. Now that the issue with the Chosen Ones was temporarily sorted out, I rallied the troops once more. The Great Crusade has officially begun. Bring out the Colossus planet crackers. 10 Titan-class dreadnoughts, 20,000 battleships, 200,000 corvettes. Divide the fleet into 10 Vanguard strike forces. Every single Titan dreadnought will be escorted by 2,000 battleships, and escorted by 20,000 corvettes. They carried a massive fleet of science ships, construction ships, colony ships and army transports, along with brilliant scientists and ground troops. Through the quantum catapult, I launched toward the star systems our science ships had already charted. And right after the first conquest, we'd link our territories into one continuous line. A flawless, unobstructed trade route for the Megacorp, and the tour route for the Galactic Artisan Troop, and so on. As for me, my origin system was the Terra system, while Chu Shui's origin was the United Systems, the Toaster 1 system, and the Wormhole system. Each had a fleet left behind to guard our home base. These 4 fleets would hold the line until the second batch of warships was built. Only then would they join the grand expedition. Everything was going exactly as planned. At the same time, my crisis system got an update. Crisis achievement unlocked. successfully enslaved the special civilization, the Chosen Ones. Menace increased by 100,000. Cumulative menace has now surpassed 500,000. Crisis level upgraded to level 6. Current menace sits at 100,000 points. Items in the level 1 through 4 shops can now be redeemed for free. Completely free, it only costs 100 points to refresh. As for the level 5 shop, everything is 50% off, and the exchange rate for alloys and other resources has increased. Unlocked a brand new category of goods, Ascension Perks. One Ascension perk appears with every refresh. Once an Ascension perk is successfully purchased, it unlocks a brand new Menace template, and it doesn't even conflict with the Become the Crisis perk. Oh wow! A brand new Menace template. My eyes completely lit up. This was some seriously good stuff. With this, the ways I can farm Menace are going to be way more diverse. Still though, this level 6 Crisis shop is ridiculously expensive. And honestly, that was the real reason I decided to launch the Grand Expedition. Most of these garbage civilizations only give about 1,000 Menace points. Even the occasional stronger ones max out at 10,000. As for the special civilizations, there are just too few of them around. And as for the famous ones, well, mostly, I can't afford to piss them off, because I definitely can't beat them yet. Take the L gates, for example. I didn't even dare to open them, because there's zero guarantee I'd roll Gray, the one who'd swear loyalty to me for 5,000 years. If I ended up unleashing the Grey Tempest instead, that would be a total party wipe. Back in the Stellaris game, the Grey Tempest had a fleet power of at least 50k. But 50k was just the game's algorithm. Right now, I'm living in a real-life Stellaris universe. Judging by the sheer scale of my own fleets, I'd estimate that the Grey Tempest would have a fleet power of at least 500,000, or even more. With my current strength, I am nowhere near ready for that. The level 6 Crisis shop takes 100,000 Menace points just to refresh. Then there's the Synaptic Lathe, 500,000 points. It's a massive, centralized computing system. It uses an intricate web of cables, transistors, and life support pods to link together hundreds of millions of sentient beings, whether they're organics or synthetics, all wired together. And then, there's the Star Eater. Also 500,000 points. A superweapon capable of triggering a full-blown supernova in any star. Furthermore, a terrifying weapon capable of directly destroying an entire star system. The Psi Jump Drive, 200,000 points for the Psi Jump Drive. Using the psionic energy emitted by the crew, it allows the ship to phase right through the fabric of reality, instantly jumping across massive distances. Then, the Juggernaut, 100,000 points. Acting as a fully mobile space base of unprecedented scale, the Juggernaut class ship can elevate offensive operations to a whole new level. The Synaptic Lathe, and the Star Eater. I'm actually thrilled. It's just a shame it costs 500,000 points. I definitely can't afford it right now. And besides, these things, even if I could buy them, my current resources wouldn't be enough to maintain them at all. But I'm not in a rush. Right now, I just need to gain more power. I'll keep browsing this Tier 6 shop. This time, the Tier 6 shop only has 4 items. That's because there's an extra Ascension perk. Ascension perk, 100,000 points for a single refresh. Mind over Matter, 500,000, to unlock the Psionic Ascension path. Only a tiny fraction of our inner potential has been tapped and utilized. Within our species right now, only a handful of individuals can actually manipulate psionic power. Sure enough, it's another 500,000. If this great crusade goes smoothly, I should definitely be able to afford it. I'm not in a hurry to buy from the Tier 6 shop anyway. The Tier 5 shop is already half off. Colossal weapons like the World Cracker are already at an absolute steal of 5,000 points. This actually makes me quite happy. The main difference between Tier 5 and Tier 6 is blowing up planets versus blowing up stars. At the current stage, building a bunch of planet killers is more than enough. Not long after, news came from the front lines about the discovery of an elven civilization. This civilization consists entirely of asexually reproducing females, who worship a towering divine tree and possess psionic powers. And their high priestess, she can even step right into the void with her bare physical body, destroying a science ship all by herself. The expeditionary force sees them as a perfect tribute for me, but they just don't know how to make them submit willingly. So, I refreshed the Tier 5 shop, and rolled the Chosen One, the Global Pacifier Colossus, and the Divine Enforcer. The latter fires psionic beams to completely change their beliefs. I redeemed them all. The chosen one takes effect. Boundless psionic energy surges straight into my body. I stepped into the void with my physical body, and crushed a corvette using just my psionic pressure. Then, I crushed a battleship too. Without the protection of psionic shields. They are literally made of paper in the face of psionic power.